In the City Council, City of Emeryville, finding a portion of the facts stated in the Notice of Appeal annual enforcement fee filed by the Woodfin Suites Hotel dated March 10th, 2008, constitute a matter of sufficient substantiality to warrant a hearing set for Tuesday, June 3rd, 2008 at 7:16 p.m.
I move we set the hearing for June 3rd at 7:16.
I think we need just a brief report, if I could.
Okay, Pat?
So I'd like to call your attention to the staff report and also the appeal letter from Woodfin Suites and also the letter from the city's outside counsel, Iris Yang of McDonough Holland. All of those are attached.
1 second. Mike, you're not sitting at, and for what reason? Because we need to put this on the record, no? No?
I'm not sitting as advisor to the council. Iris Yang has been hired as outside counsel to provide advice to the city council on the hearing because it's our office that is prosecuting the enforcement fee. And
Okay.
so we're not going to wear two hats.
Right, and that council is not here tonight.
They're not here tonight.
Right,
Their memo is in the packet and that constitutes their advice to you.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so so that memo is attached to the staff report. So I would just like to give you a little bit brief background. The city's master fee schedule provides for the city to charge an annual enforcement fee for staff and consultant time that are spent enforcing Measure C, plus a 10% administrative fee. In 2007, as you know, the city received a total of 24 complaints from employees of the Woodfin Hotel, and that required that we undertake investigations of those complaints. We retained the firm of Prince Law and Mediation to conduct the investigation. The cost of that investigation was approximately $107,000. The exact amount is in the discussion portion of the report. Subsequent to that, the city manager, myself, issued a letter to Woodfin advising them of the annual enforcement fee and requesting payment of that fee by March 31st, including the $107,734. On March 10th, the city received a correspondence from Woodfin's attorney, Bruno Katz, who I believe is here tonight, filing a timely notice of appeal. And then on March 21st of 2008, special counsel to the city, Iris Yang of the firm of McDonough Holland, prepared a memo attached to your report regarding Woodfin's notice of appeal, which is attached as Exhibit 4. So the city council is asked to pay particular attention to the last paragraph of Ms. Yang's memo. She discusses the scope of issues that are raised by Woodfin's notice of appeal, and she determines that out of the 13 issues that are presented, only one has merit as the basis for the appeal, and that she recommends the City Council appeal hearing be limited to the issue of whether the amount of the annual enforcement fee is attributable to investigating and enforcing violations of Measure C, and whether that amount was correctly calculated. And the proposed resolution that's at the end of your staff report that we're recommending that you adopt tonight reflects this recommendation in limiting the scope of the annual hearing. So the recommendation is twofold. One, to review this report and its attachments, and secondly, to adopt the proposed resolution that establishes the June 3rd, 2008 hearing date, setting that hearing date, and also limits the content of that appeal to the recommendation of Ms. Yang concerning the amount of the annual enforcement fee. That's my report.
I do want to make a comment here. I think if we're going forward with this, I think Ms. Yang should be here. It's very disappointing to me that we have to just operate from a letter and that we don't have the person, the attorney that's representing us here on this matter. I feel very uncomfortable about that, and I just want to make that point.
I think she was planning to be here. We're not sure why.
Okay. Did you want to speak, Mr. Katz?
Please, Mayor, I could be
Go
heard
ahead.
very briefly. Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the City Council. As you know, my name is Bruno Katz. I represent the Woodfin Suites. I was the one that filed the notice of appeal. Just a couple things on this issue. I agree that this is a matter of substantial merit, and it should be heard by the City Council. However, I'd ask that it not be limited as to only the issue of the reasonableness of the fees. There are many issues. Some of them are before the court of the writ of mandate. Some are not. As you know, the court hasn't reached any decision on that at this point in time. And the city, as you know, did not give us the amount of the annual enforcement fee when we had the hearing back in August. So there are many issues that have arisen because of that and because of the amount that we'd ask to be heard on, including the issues as to whether city staff in fact followed your implementing regulations. For example, these are undisputed facts. Of the 21 complaints for retaliation, 21 of them were withdrawn, so there was no determination made. 2 more were filed, and they were withdrawn by the complainants because they were told to lie by eBase. Those are in front of the city staff and the city report. Those people were specifically told to fabricate complaints, and they withdrew it. The last complaint has never been adjudicated at all, and under your implementing regulations, city staff is supposed to within 60 days, give some kind of report. 60 days has come and gone a long time ago. We're talking 6, 7 months now, over 6 months, and we've had no report on that complaint in the least. There has been no enforcement and no finding against Woodfin at all as to any of these complaints. We're not talking the back wages complaints. We're talking complaints based on retaliation. So there has been no enforcement. There has been no finding of violations in the least. So Woodfin would like to be heard on all of those issues, because those issues are pertinent to the council in hearing this. Now, I can raise other objections at this point in time to the report, and I appreciate you allowing me to be heard, because in fact the council has a resolution before it, and I think under the Brown Act it's appropriate for people to be heard on this. So I'd ask that the hearing be expanded so that Woodfin can deal with all the issues that it said in its notice of appeal. A lot of them have to do whether you even had done any enforcement. Our position is there's been no enforcement, and that's a fatal flaw according to the law, that you can't penalize someone if they haven't committed any kind of violation. It's basically you pay no matter what, whether you're guilty or not. So that's inappropriate. So I thank you for letting me be heard here today briefly, and ask that if appeal does go forward, which we think it should, that we be allowed to be heard on all the issues that are pertinent in this matter, and at least brief them so that the City Council has those issues factually and legally before it. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that wishes to speak on this? Okay. Council members?
Yeah, I'm going to offer, I guess, a substitute motion to Ruth's. I appreciate the comments from council, but I feel obligated to follow the guidance that we've been provided. So my motion is to set the hearing and to impose the limitations as set forth by council.
Pardon me, Dick, could you clarify, are you moving the resolution?
Absolutely.
All right.
There you go.
You know,
Thank you.
I just want to say, I would feel comfortable holding this over until we had our counsel here, because there are questions that I would like to ask that I cannot ask because she's not here, so.
Well, Mayor, here's the thing, is that, you know, this memo has addressed all of the issues that have been raised and has said that they don't think that there's merit there. So they're only saying there's merit to the one issue. So I don't see any reason to wait. So
I'd second your motion on the resolution.
Is there any other comments? All right, call the roll, please.
Councilmember Davis.
Aye.
Councilmember Fricke.
Aye.
Councilmember Cassis.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Atkin.
Aye.
Mayor Bukowski.
No. Okay, next.
Just before we move on, Mike, I guess you're back at the chair. This opinion, as part of the staff report, that's public document?
Correct.
Thank you.
Okay, presentation